Hey everyone, welcome back to the RPGames YouTube channel. My name is Ralph. This is the life and suffering of Sir Randolph Brante. There are days when you receive letters from home. Father's writing is very reserved. He mostly discusses events and work in Magra and writes very little about the family. It makes me proud that I have managed to teach Stefan how to handle our affairs at home. Your older brother behaves impeccably at the society balls and receptions that we host. He's already made several crucial acquaintances. Gloria has a different opinion of Stefan. She thinks your older brother is taking more and more after grandfather. Stefan is a lot like grandfather. It's in his manners, his posture, his voice, he even dresses just like him. He used to be aloof around me and we barely talked in the past, but now he always blames me and tears me apart. Can't take it anymore. He walks all over me all the time and treats me like a housemaid. Mother writes to you too. From her letters, you learn that Nathan just barely managed to graduate from school. Nathan. Makes me sad to admit that Nathan has none of the talents you have. The other day he told me he won't even try to study in the capital. He says he won't be able to pass the exams. I find solace only in the nights Nathan and I spend together reading the scriptures and our walks to the church by the silver tree. He accompanies me every time. Well, Mom, you might finally have found the priest in the family then. It wasn't gonna be me. Your sister and younger brother write about Mother too, and they say the same thing about her health. She now spends more time locked away in her chambers to brood. Even more? I mean, she didn't come out of her chambers when I was still at home. Gloria does her best to accompany Mother when she leaves home. Nathan's letters mention her steps echoing in the halls in the middle of the night. Probably still wondering if she's gonna be set on fire. There's one more thing Nathan mentions in his letter. Stefan and Gloria have been fighting very often these days. Stefan always tries to get under Gloria's skin. She answers him in kind. And Stefan calls her a lowly commoner to make her shut up. You always tremble in excitement each time you see a new letter with the seal of your home province. Your fate is still bound tightly to your families, no matter the distance between you. There is less affection? What did I do? I only read letters. How can my relationship go down? I'm not even doing anything. Look! Look! Oh man. You will become a judge one day. Sire is sent to the prefecture of Eterna to be mentored by a more experienced colleague. Your mentor is a judge of considerable age, a noble of the mantle with a proud bearing about him. He never misses a chance to remind you that being mentored by such an experienced man of office is a great honor. Your mentor entrusts you with his minor cases and, to his great joy, his night shift. Great. Another night begins. The office is growing darker. You're still there, zealously filling out paperwork for the day. A petty theft, verbal assault against a noble of the sword by a commoner, a fine for the parents of children who covered an imperial institution with obscene drawings. Petty cases, all of them, but they are real cases a judge has to face. So you sit there carefully comparing complaints, statements, witness testimony. Then the door of your office swings open. A gendarme drags in a provocatively dressed girl. Her golden hair is undone, and her makeup is fiery red. Girls like her sell their bodies in houses of ill repute. The next to enter the office is a stout priest, his face adorned by a nose of a remarkable shape and a huge wart on his cheek. You do your best to avoid staring at it. The gendarme gives his report. The girl was arrested with a certain gentleman in the park by the temples of the twins. They were committing acts of carnality. Acts of carnality, wow, okay. I'm gonna start using that in real life. Hey girl, do you want to engage in an act of carnality? I'm sure it'll be a hit. An affront to the fate. The huffing and puffing priest interrupts him and starts yelling. He saw her doing magic, he did. The gentleman was enthralled by the girl, and he was glowing like a lamppost. You gesture for the priest to stay quiet and ask if the gendarme can prove this. The gendarme only shrugs, he didn't see anyone glowing. He arrested the girl for her sacrilegious conduct alone. The man in her company was a noble, so the gendarme couldn't bring himself to arrest him. He does, however, remember his name. The priest is huffing and puffing even louder now. "It was magic," he screams. "You must refer this case to the Inquisition. This witch was loose on the streets of the Empire's illustrious capital, seducing good men with her vile charms." The girl stays quiet all the while. Her eyes are emerald green, twinkling with gold as she looks at you. When she does speak, her voice is soft like smooth velvet. "My name is Alis, Your Honor. All I did was obey the noble gentleman's wish. He wanted my affection right by the temple, and I dared not oppose him. I did not defy my lot, did I?" The wench looks up and meets your gaze as she says these words. Her eyes reflect the candlelight in the dusk, sending sparks of gold dancing across the walls. The gendarme stands awkwardly by the door, sighing. The priest goes off on another rant. You tell him to be quiet. The day is not over yet. You must decide how to resolve this unusual case on your own. The law says a judge must investigate all circumstances related to a case. You know the name of the nobleman who was seen with this girl in the throes of passion? The gendarme was afraid to question him. But you're a future nobleman yourself, a young judge. Surely you can find a way to resolve this matter with discretion. Get the information you need from the nobleman. But perhaps the suspicious lady of evening, Alis, is at the heart of the matter. You've no doubt she will reveal her true colors if you question her. The priest was right about her using magic. The girl's fate is sealed. Your Honor. You look up from your desk and into the eyes of the beautiful Alis, and you suddenly feel as though a divine light is shining upon you. This emotion flows like a river. It lifts you up. This is more than beauty, more than passion. This is much, much more. Will you resist the call, or will you heed it? Okay, so if we find the nobleman, we're gonna get +1 diplomacy. If we interrogate Alis, we're gonna lose some willpower. We're gonna gain theology and manipulation, and Alis is gonna get true debt. Great. And if we release Alis, we are gonna get willpower +10. I think we're gonna find the nobleman, question him delicately, and we'll get some much needed diplomacy. Well, I say much needed, I mean, we don't really need much more, we're already at 16, but anyway. You tell the gendarme to take the girl to a holding cell. Her eyes are filled with chagrin and pity as the man takes her away. You compose a polite and thorough letter to Sir Diego Alcatoir, the nobleman seen with the girl in question. You delicately hint that his reputation will be safe and promise full confidentiality. When you come to the office the next morning, you see a nervous young nobleman waiting at the door. "You must be Judge Brante," he says. "I am." You meet Sir Alcatoir with a dignified greeting and start questioning him on the case of Alis the harlot. Is it true that the two of them ended up in the Temple Park because this was Sir Alcatoir's wish? He says he barely remembers last night. He was quite inebriated and determined to have a good time. He spotted Alis by accident. She was standing under a lamppost by the temple. As for the Temple Park, he does not quite remember why they ended up there. You take his statements in accordance with established procedure. Next question. Would Sir Alcatoir say his mind was clouded by the young woman? I think it was clouded by alcohol. The nobleman turns red. He asks quietly, "Haven't you seen the lass yourself, Sir Brante? How could anyone ignore her?" Still, you ask, was there anything suspicious about her? He speaks slowly. Yes, it was as though she could see his every desire, and he was happy beyond measure in her embrace. Felt like the gods themselves were smiling at him, Sir Alcatoir. And yet, perhaps it was merely the wine and her beauty and nothing else. You thank the young nobleman for his honesty, promise to keep his statement a carefully guarded secret. You sentence the harlot to 2 days in a pillory for defiling a place of worship with her depravity. You find no reason to refer Alis to the Inquisition, however. You write "case closed" on Alis's file, put it in the archives. Hey, look at that. I am received in elite circles. I am very close to becoming a masterful diplomat. And not only that, I am also very close to being battle hardened, so I'm a badass, fighting wise, and I'm a great diplomat. What a combination, huh? Alice's death is prevented. You have the enigmatic singer known as the Golden Voice. Oh, really? Okay. Well, we didn't burn her, that's good. We're 19 now. Two major events take place while you're busy living your life. First, Cornelius Tempest is no longer the great Chancellor of the Empire. He's been ousted and sent back to his province. His replacement is the Archduke of Monia, Egarius Monrogue, the same Monrogue who sought to shut down the college. The most powerful lord in the realm finally convinced the Emperor that his brother Cornelius was giving too much freedom to the lowborn. Now the policies of the Empire will be reversed. Many fear that the great Chancellor will destroy the Imperial Code of Laws and other achievements of Cornelius. There are cautious rumors among the people. They say the new great Chancellor is going to revoke the right of the common lot to be ennobled by the mantle. Secondly, Magra, your homeland, now has a new overseer, Gaius Tempest, the other brother of Emperor Uther II. Usually the overseer of a province is an archduke. After all, it makes sense for the province's most powerful noble to impart the emperor's will to the locals. Yet now, this age-old tradition has been broken, and to no one's surprise, Archduke Tarquinius Milanidas is absolutely furious. Gaius Tempest used to be the main supporter of his brother, former Great Chancellor Cornelius Tempest. The nobles of the Empire's court say that this is a stratagem by the Archnean gentry, who want Gaius removed from court affairs along with Cornelius. Couldn't they have sent him somewhere else but Magra? I mean, either way, Gaius Tempest and Tarquinius Milanidas will be at each other's throats over the province. This does not bode well for their future. One thing is clear, Magra, your home province, is about to face great changes. Well, if I have to make a choice, I'm gonna go with the Milanidas dynasty because, hey, there is this beautiful girl that likes my dancing moves. We moved a little bit back to peace, apparently. And there is another party. Ever since I moved to the capital, it's one party after the other. The capital is preparing for a great celebration, the coming of age of Gerion Tempest, heir to the throne. The streets are being cleaned, the low-born merchants are gone from the squares, and flags and flower garlands have appeared on the buildings. By the Emperor's decree, everyone will celebrate for the next 3 days. Eterna has a buzz. A festive procession starts on the streets. Students from the college and cadets from the military academy will be there to show their gratitude to the Emperor's family for entrusting them with the power they wield. Ribbons and flags flutter in the wind, the streets are scrubbed clean, and the scent of flowers fills the air. You march side by side with Thomas, carrying the banner of your province. Your friend's brown hair is unusually well combed today. He waves to every girl you see on the streets as you pass by. They giggle shyly. Some of them wave back. Well, Thomas is even worse than me when it comes to girls. Did you see that, pal? Look at that beauty. She just smiled at me. This is what I call living. I just love parades. The Tempest royal family observes the slowly approaching parade from the balcony of the Imperial Palace. They're joined by the Empire's highest dignitaries and provincial overseers. You see Emperor Uther II with your own eyes, there, high above, yet so close. So close that we can almost assassinate him and become the Emperor, how about that? Wouldn't that throw a wrench into the wheels of society? The columns come to a halt at the balcony and salute the Emperor with the mottos of the college and the academy. You join the other college students in crying, "Learning is strength, learning is will." The Emperor raises his hand in a gesture of benevolent greeting. He looks scary. His voice echoes across the square. "I accept your gratitude, my loyal subjects. Take pride as you wield your knowledge and valor in service of the Empire. All who are worthy will be ennobled by the mantle, by my grace. The future nobles around you share the Emperor's words, but their jubilation gives way to murmurs of discontent when Archduke Monrogue, the new Great Chancellor of the Empire, steps onto the balcony. Everyone here remembers all too well how the Archduke attempted to shut down the college by force. Still, the Archduke is the de facto leader of the Argonian gentry. He's a force to be reckoned with, even for the Emperor, so he is the Great Chancellor now. Hail, your Emperor, common folk. What's up, commoners, rabble? Be forever obedient and grateful for the good graces you do not deserve by birth. The Archduke does not even bother to hide his contempt for the gathering below. Booed by the crowd, he rejoins the dignitaries in the back row. You notice one of them, a slender, elegant figure under an emerald banner with a black snake. She's Octavia Milanidas, daughter of the Archduke of Magra. Yeah, baby. This is the girl I danced with, look at that. I am successful. Now that's new. You noticed Octavia too, eh? I danced with her, dude. When you tripped over your own feet, remember? And I chose this woman over my best friend, eh? Remember, Thomas? Our Archduke Milanidas sent his daughter in his stead. It's a sign of disrespect for the Emperor if I've ever seen one. Is he so enraged because he's no longer the overseer of Magra? I mean, you can imagine his surprise. It's never happened before. Then everyone grows silent. The young, slender Archnian with a shy smile comes forth. There are whispers in the crowd. That's Prince Geryon, heir to the throne, ward of Cornelius, promise and hope of the common estate. To the left of Geryon is his younger brother Flavius. He is baffled at the sight of the parade below, too young to process what he's seeing. If this dude gets married to my Octavia, there's gonna be a riot. May the twins be kind to you, my future subjects. I promise to repay you in kind and help you prosper in your loyal service to the Empire. Exalted by these words, the future nobles roar as one, all hail Prince Geryon. Another figure steps into view next to the heir. He's an Archnian, elegantly dressed, and his mantle bears the Tempest colors. He raises his arms, about to make a speech. Hey look, it's Gaius Tempest, the Emperor's brother, the new overseer of Magra. By the by, seems the Archnian elders want him as far from the throne as possible, just like his other brother Cornelius. Those two have been promising too many freedoms to commoners like you and me. Long live Prince Geryon, students of the college, cadets of the academy. Time and again you have proven yourselves to the Empire by word and deed. Today is a day of great celebration, and in honor of Prince Geryon, you must ask the Emperor to guarantee forever the right of distinguished common folk to be ennobled by the mantle. So ask now. And he's saying this with the Emperor sitting there? Oh, wow. He's got balls. The cadets and students freeze in hesitation, yeah, I'd guess. They exchange glances, unsure whether to follow the words of the Emperor's own brother. On the balcony high above, Prince Geryon also remains still, awaiting a reaction from the crowd. Archduke Monrogue briskly steps into view once more. He takes several seconds to observe the crowd before he speaks. Imperial subjects, what the Emperor's brother wishes to say is that you must always remember that you owe your status to the Tempest dynasty. The Emperor accepts your gratitude and sends you off with his blessing. You may leave now. But the columns stay where they are. That's not what Gaius Tempest said. Let the Emperor hear us. The law. We ask for the law. Commotion and murmurs spread over the crowd as some of the future nobles refuse to follow the Archduke's order. There are shouts heard here and there. The law! We ask for the law! The academy officers and teachers of the college urge them to fall in line, resume the parade, but tensions is rising. The crowd slowly grows enraged and unruly. You have to decide where you stand here. Oh man. If we follow the order, power is gonna go down, order is gonna go up, and we're gonna gain a diplomacy. If we demand our rights, our valor is gonna go up. Oh yeah, we're gonna become battle-hardened. Demand my rights. There we go. Didn't have to think about that one. You cry out in support of Gaia's Tempest's call for the law. You have the right to be heard. You have the right to ask. Your voice grows stronger, soon others join you. The chant grows louder with every second. The law, the law. Inspired by the support of your fellow students and cadets, you move through the square and urge others to join you. Thomas walks by your side, waving his arms wildly, inciting others to shout along with you. The law! The law! You, Thomas, and other vocal students and cadets gather in the very center of the square. Academy officers are trying to shout you into submission and order you back into the procession, but they are barely heard above your chant. Still, some submit and form back into the columns, but the impassioned chant continues, and you're at the very heart of the chanting crowd. An Imperial Guard cavalry regiment emerges from the palace. They start slowly advancing on the crowd, hands on their swords, pushing people out of the square. You have to stand your ground, so you start giving orders to defend the cobblestones beneath your feet with your fellow future nobles. You assemble in a double chain formation around the center of the square, strong enough to prevent the Imperial Guard from reaching the very center. The commoners go running left and right away from the horses, but the cavalry stops when it reaches your double chain. They cannot break through unless they're ordered to attack, and so they halt and wait for orders. The horses paw at the cobblestones, the cavalry swords are drawn, ready to come crashing down upon your heads. It's a standoff between the armor-clad cavalry and unarmed students and cadets. Emperor Uther II appears on the balcony again, joined by his brother Gaius Tempest and heir to the throne Gerion Tempest. With a gesture, the Emperor calls for attention. The square falls silent at the sight of the sovereign. My subject, I have heard your request. There is no need to repeat it again and again. The Great Imperial Council shall review my brother's proposal. Now follow your lot and obey my will. Continue the parade and sing the praises to the ever-merciful Prince Gerion. These words from the Empire are enough to quell the commotion in the square. The standoff ends and the cavalry withdraws. Phew. Well, would you look at that, old friend? We did it. We stood up for our noble right and we won. It's the Emperor's word. That's what our courage can do. Voices from the crowd are quick to disprove Thomas. The Emperor never gave his word, he only promised to review the proposal. People begin to argue around you again. This time, however, no one wishes to disobey the orders from on high. And so students line up into columns once again. The bout of defiance is in the past now, and everyone resumes the festive parade through the city streets. Glory to Emperor Uther, glory to Prince Gerion. We did it! We are battle-hardened. Which is most important to the judge, so that is great. Now we can focus on raising a couple of our other stats, because they got left behind a little bit. Your studies at the college come easily to you. Only now do you realize the importance of all the lessons you had to endure as a child at father's expense. Month after month you studied the judge's trade down to the smallest details, growing more confident in your new calling with every lecture. There is more to your education than the judge's trade in imperial law. You also learn manners, courtly etiquette, poetry, composition, and even fencing. On some days you go with Thomas to a deserted patch of land to practice with the sword. Then finally, the day of your judge's exam comes. You send your test results to father, and he replies with an appointment to a judge's office at the prefecture of Magra. Now you have a new life and a new profession back home. You will return to your hometown as a judge. It's early morning at the great temple of the twins. Your heart skips a beat as you step inside the temple. It feels like that day from your childhood again. The priest is standing at the altar and the temple is divided into two halves. You're no longer a frightened little child anymore. You're a grown man who's about to become a noble. The floor on the common side is there to cause pain. You feel the jagged edges even through your soles and your boots. This pain marks your final few seconds as a commoner. The priest stands before you. You kneel again, but now there is warm, smooth marble under your knees. You hear the words spoken above your head. From this day forth, your lot is strength and will. From this day forth you will rule and fight, pursue the arts. Now rise, noble. You place your lips on the smooth steel of the sword, and when you rise again you realize that the trembling you felt ever since your first sacrament is now completely gone. You arise a new man, your every motion now uncannily accurate, your thoughts surprisingly fresh, your muscles ready to face the fight. This day feels worthy of a poem, and now you can compose one if you wish. You touch your back. The mark of the lash from your previous sacrament is gone completely, erased forever. You hurry from the sacrament back to your room at the college. Your father's gift awaits you there, a sword, your very own sword. Now to celebrate. All college students are invited to the college tournament. Then a party, again a party. The sword feels wonderful in your hand, a promise of future victories. The tournament begins. The stands are loud with anticipation. Never in your entire life have you seen so many beautiful noble ladies in one place, but there is only one who attracts everybody's attention, the raven-haired, black-eyed Octavia Milanidas. The daughter of the Archduke of Magra has graced the tournament with a visit. Oh yeah! Can I offer, or can she offer something to me? Or maybe I can offer her the handkerchief. How about that? She's wearing a dress of emerald green, her austere hairdo immaculate. She's surrounded by her ladies-in-waiting, all beauties in their own right. When a noble enters the tournament, he must announce the name of the lady whose honor he's fighting for. Many shout the names of their loved ones in the stalls. You know that many would fight for Octavia Milanidas, but the onus of responsibility is too great. You take a few jabs with the sword, warming up for the fight. Soon it's your turn. All eyes are on you. The young lady Octavia hides her face behind the hand fan, yet her eyes watch you with curiosity. Okay, so we can dedicate the fight to our father. This gives us the victory in the tournament. It gives us valor. And Octavia is intrigued. We can choose a lady of the court, which means Octavia is ill-disposed. Address Octavia publicly, but I think she remembers us, so... Or we can fight in Octavia's name, which gains us +1 diplomacy, and she is intrigued, and we gain +1 relationship with her. So +1 well, our valor is already at 20, and that's the maximum value, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. Although this does give us the victory in the tournament, fighting in Octavia's name does not. And Octavia is intrigued, and she will be intrigued here as well. I want to win this tournament. I'm gonna dedicate it to my father. You didn't expect that, did you, huh? You approach the stalls and introduce yourself. Then you announce your decision. You will fight in the name of your father, Robert Brante. You earned this noble title only because he taught you well, and honor demands you dedicate your victories to him. The stalls grows quiet. Unlike the other fighters in the arena, you're not fighting in a lady's name. The first fight begins. The rules are the same as for any noble duel. Whoever draws first blood wins. Your first opponent does not put up much of a fight. A few minutes later, he misses a jab to the thigh. Your shirt is soaked with sweat. The hilt of your sword feels slippery in your wet fingers. Still, you prevail in 3 fights in a row. Then prepare to face a new opponent. You know him well. He was mentored at the prefecture of Eterna after you. He's an unusually quick and nimble fighter. Again and again, you find yourself driven to the edge of the arena to avoid his jabs. Then, with a slashing feint, you draw your opponent's blood. Another victory. To your surprise, you're about to fight for the champion's title. You will face Jose Pelletier, the best fencer in the college, with 5 wins in this tournament alone. Your skill pales before the mastery he has attained after months of grueling practice with the sword. He assaults you with a flurry of cuts, thrusts and jabs. You can barely react in time to deflect them. But then you recall a bright moment from your childhood, your very first fencing lesson with father. The first man to teach you how to dodge a lunge. This memory comes alive in your mind. You stand more confidently now. You take a few steps back to catch your breath and study your opponent. The Pelletier is good at keeping his distance, following attack with a defense. Yet his movements are too learned, too mechanical. So you try a trick. First you pretend there is an opening in your defense. You rush him suddenly, then follow your assault with a feint. The sudden unpredictable attack catches your opponent off guard. He jumps to the side, but not before the very tip of your sword catches Pelletier on the right shoulder. He's itching to continue the fight, but a patch of red spreads across the sleeve of his shirt. Victory! You salute the stalls and dedicate this victory to your father, Robert Brante. Your fellow students pick you up, carry you to the stalls as everyone chants your name. The winner's reward is the tournament ribbon, and Lady Octavia Milanidas, the tournament's guest of honor, will tie it around your sword herself. Hey Octavia, how you doing? The crowd parts as the daughter of the Archduke of Magra walks towards you. All this time, Octavia has been watching you closely from behind her emerald hand fan. She ties the ribbon of honor around your blade. You've proven yourself admirably, Sir Brante, a worthy victory. Your father has every right to be proud, the son of a judge from Anizati. Who could have known we would meet one another here in the capital of the Empire? I must say I'm amazed. I will remember your name. You better. The eyes of the young Archduchess follow you even as you leave the arena victorious. Yeah, baby. You will remember this day for the rest of your life, the day you became a noble. Octavia has taken an interest in me. Oh, I can go beyond that? Oh, I can apparently. I am even more battle-hardened. So in the year 1137 I graduate from college, I earned the judge's mantle and the noble title, and I'm the champion. Prevail over every opponent in the Imperial College tournament. Yep, that's me. Bow down to the champ. And while you're bowing down, I'm going to take this opportunity to put a cut in the video. If you're enjoying this game, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.